When journalists and lawmakers ask pharmaceutical companies to justify their pricing, the same two words come up again and again: research and development.
There are a couple of myths that are out there about why drugs cost what they do. One myth is that the companies spend so much money on research that they need to recoup their research expenditures. And if it wasn't for the drug companies, we wouldn't have any new drugs because they're making all the discoveries.
We need to invest in innovation for cures and treatments for unmet medical need, and we need to charge a price for our medicines that allow us to invest in R&D.
The reality is that much of the research is not done by them at all.
We increase prices as part of that process of, getting back our R&D costs.
Given the number of product candidates we have in development, our expenses will go up.
Almost all of the innovative products, the blockbuster drugs, are acquired from small startups, biotech companies, from university research.
We wake up every day trying to invent new medicines and get them to people who are sick. And the system is complicated.
So for us, it's all about innovation from R&D and value for money.
The best way we can invest in our innovation and R&D is by growing the top line.
What makes one company a better innovator than another?
To actually come up with a drug takes a very sophisticated team that understands all aspects of drug development.
If I was a drug company, I might want to take credit for all of scientific discovery too, because it's a way of justifying those prices. It just happens to not be true.
David Poole is the former Director of Government Affairs at Gilead Sciences, one of the most profitable pharmaceutical companies in the world.
In the 8.5 years that I spent with Gilead Sciences, their investment in R&D and in the laboratories that I visited and toured seems very disproportionate to what the yield is. It was more like, here we have a showcase, and when visitors come, whether it was investors or patients or whomever might be touring Gilead's headquarters, they had these beautiful large laboratories that they could present to people and say, this is where we do all this grand research and development. When in fact, we didn't see products that had been innovated by Gilead. They just were very strategic in the companies they purchased. Then they would often take those products and in some cases combine drugs to make them an effective, better therapy. But as far as innovation from start to finish, I quite frankly don't think that occurred, but perhaps maybe even only once in the 30-year history of Gilead Sciences.
So then the question is not how do you develop the next miracle drug, but how do you get hold of it? And that you can do through acquisition. So you acquire the company that is developing the drug and then try to exploit it as much as possible.
In 2011, Gilead Sciences positioned itself to acquire a company that was leading the field in the fight against the most deadly infectious disease in the United States, hepatitis C. This merger between business and miracle drug triggered the most contentious industry move to date.
One of the biggest controversies that erupted in the pricing of new drugs occurred about 2 to 3 years ago, was around these drugs to treat hepatitis C.
And I wouldn't say Gilead is an outlier, it's just that they were able to get hold of a drug that is a miracle drug.
There is a new cure on the rise.
There is a new drug on the market that will help cure hepatitis C.
The drug has been called a miracle drug. It actually cures hepatitis C.
Sofosbuvir. Sofosbuvir was designed by a chemist called Mike Sophia at a company called Pharma.
Wait a minute, so this is a definite cure for hepatitis C? No kidding.
Yeah. I mean, that's amazing, right?
We did the original human studies of that drug. I presented the data at the Berlin liver meeting. And I remember the meeting because the audience was in stunned silence.
This was perhaps the only time I've ever sat in a medical conference where everybody went, oh. They couldn't believe it. For the first time, tablets had cured hepatitis C.
We're not talking about a drug with marginal benefits. We're talking about a drug that's a game changer for people's lives.
Gilead Sciences is making a big move into the world of hepatitis C treatment with its acquisition of Pharma. A deal, in fact, expected to close by the end of the day tomorrow.
Gilead Sciences is buying drug developer Pharma for $11 billion.
Gilead's chairman and CEO John Martin joins us. What gives you the confidence that this is a company that was worth $11 billion of Gilead's money?
The company that we're talking about, Pharma, made tremendous progress, especially over the last year, and it's already in phase 3 studies, the studies that lead to approval. So we expect 7977 to be the first to market.
Now this is 2011. By 2014, we had combined drugs and done the clinical trials and presented the data that resulted in a treatment for hepatitis C that could cure 95% of patients with one tablet once a day that was simple, safe, and effective.
All of a sudden it changes to we have a med that works in 3 months. The side effects are minimal to none. It's there. And let's get everybody tested. Let's get everybody cured.
There'd be no transmission of hepatitis C if everybody started on it immediately.
I mean, this is a virus that could be cleared. We could clear it from the planet, but we can't because it's too expensive.
The $1,000 a day pill. That's a lot of money for a single tablet. In fact, that makes one tablet of sofosbuvir, as it's called, the most expensive substance on Earth.
So Gilead brings cure to market. That didn't make the headlines. What made the headlines was their price. And so what you saw a few days later, when they first launched it, was somebody holding up a pill, and it said the new face of the pharmaceutical industry, the $1,000 pill.
It's important to understand, something about hepatitis C and the disease. $1,000 a pill, it sounds outrageous, but the cost and the investment involved, we're talking billions of dollars were spent to purchase this treatment or this drug.
A lot of that development happened at Emory University by a faculty member who received a lot of NIH grants. There was also some work that happened in the Veterans Administration Hospital. The faculty members set up a company called Pharma, which was going to monetize that discovery. And then Gilead Pharmaceuticals decided to buy the company that this faculty member had started.
They paid $11.2 billion for this product. At the time, a price that Wall Street viewed as excessive. Down the road, it was proven by Gilead that they recouped that $11.2 billion in less than a year from the rollout of that product.
There's an interesting ethical and political and societal question of who should reap the benefits of initially that sale, if the drug really was in large part developed with public funds. And the answer is, it certainly doesn't end up in the pocket of the taxpayer. They get to pay twice, once for the discovery and once to buy the drug if they need it.
The lofty prices forced unprecedented levels of pharmaceutical rationing. As demand for the life-saving drug swelled, access continued to diminish.
The health insurers and government payers said, basically, we're only going to treat you if you already have liver damage. So,